Hi friends, Team Nursing Extra Mileage welcomes you all in the second part of the urinary system. In the first part, we had seen the macroscopic structures of the urinary system, that is kidneys, ureters, urinary bladder, urethra, and microscopic structure of the kidney, that is nephron, and details of the nephron and the juxtaglomerular apparatus and function of it. In the second part, we will start from the physiology of urine formation. So, this is physiology of urine formation. So, how urine forms? Formation of urine involves three basic processes, that is glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption and tubular secretion. If we remember the structure of Bowman's capsule and glomerulars, in which we had seen that afferent arteriole comes, it makes a loops here and then goes out of the glomerulus by making efferent arteriole. So, blood is coming via the afferent arteriole, it get filtered here, and this is called the first part, that is glomerular filtration. The second part and third part, tubular reabsorption and tubular secretion, both happens in the tubule part, that is proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule and collecting duct. So, first we need to study the glomerular filtration. So, it is actually the ultrafiltration of plasma by the glomerulus. I have told in the previous slide, filtration occurs across the glomerular filtration membrane or barrier. So, we need to study what is glomerular filtration membrane or barrier. So, this is glomerular filtration membrane. This is the kidney. If we take a microscopic cross section of the kidney, so this is nephron, and from the nephron this is Bowman's capsule and glomerulus. So, this is the microscopic structure inside it, and here we can see this is a capillary endothelium, this green part is basement membrane, and this is food processes of the podocytes. These three structures makes the glomerular filtration barrier. So, let us study, let us read the capillary endothelium, basement membrane and the food processes of podocytes from the glomerular filtration membrane or filtration barrier. So, the RBCs or the plasma proteins or whole blood is coming and gets filtrated via these three structures, that is called glomerular filtration. So, all solutes up to 4 nanometer in size can freely pass through this filtering membrane. Solutes more than 8 nanometer are not filtered. The total quantity of ultrafiltrate formed in all the nephrons of both kidneys per minute is termed as glomerular filtration rate or GFR. Throughout your life, you will get this terminology glomerular filtration rate or GFR. So, we have to study GFR in detail. The normal GFR is amount is 125 ml per minute or 180 liter per day. This amount and the urine amount is totally different because of the effect of the tubular reabsorption or secretion. So, glomerular filtration amount and urine amount is different. Now, glomerular filtration rate. This is filtration across the glomerular filtration membrane depends on three main pressures. Three pressures affecting this filtration. That is called glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure, colloidal osmotic pressure and hydrostatic pressure in the Bowman's capsule. The net filtration pressure from 10 to 20 millimeter is ideal for glomerular filtration. This pressure helps for the glomerular filtration, and the formula for net filtration pressure is glomerular capillary pressure minus hydrostatic pressure plus colloidal osmotic pressure. This may come in MCQ. All the things I am marking here is important for the theory part also as well as for the MCQ part also. Coming to the second part, that is tubular reabsorption. So, the solute has been formed or first part of the urine has been formed from the glomerulus. Now, it has come to the PCT. So, some substances in the red part, these substances has been marked, these are getting reabsorbed from the tubule. It is known as selective reabsorption because tubule cells reabsorb only the substance necessary for the body. So not all the substance get reabsorbed. These substances include water, glucose, amino acids and electrolytes. Reabsorption of substance occurs by three processes, that is active transport, passive transport and by osmosis. So this first part is the PCT. We can see which all substance getting reabsorbed here, like in sodium, potassium, water, bicarbonate. This part is loop of Henle. We can see that which all substance getting reabsorbed here, sodium, water, calcium, and this part is the DCT. Here also some substances get reabsorbed. Some hormones affect this reabsorption, that is parathormone from the parathyroid gland. It increases reabsorption of calcium, magnesium and hydrogen. Calcitonin, it decreases calcium reabsorption. Aldosterone, it increases sodium reabsorption in ascending limb of loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule and collecting duct. Angiotensin 2, it increases sodium reabsorption in proximal convoluted tubule, thick ascending limb, distal convoluted tubule and the collecting duct. Lastly, antidiuretic hormone increases water reabsorption in DCT and collecting duct. So all these things are important for MCQ as well as theory part. Lastly, tubular secretions. So we have seen that urine has been formed from the glomerulus part, then it has come to the tubule part. Some substances already has been reabsorbed, so some substances getting secreted. So it is the process by which substances are transported from the blood into the renal tubules. This is called tubular secretion. So if this is a tubule, some substances getting secreted here and get mixed with the urine, that is called tubular secretion. So urine has been formed. Now we have to study urine in detail. What is urine? What are the details of it? So its volume is 1 to 1.5 liter per day. Remember in the previous slide I have told that the GFR amount, glomerular filtration amount and urine volume is different because urine amount getting affected by the tubular reabsorption and secretion. It is slightly acidic with a pH of 4.5 to 6 with a specific gravity of 1.010 to 1.025. Normal urine is straw colored. Urine is clear and ambered colored due to the presence of urobilin, a pigment altered in the intestine, reabsorbed and then excreted by the kidneys. Urine has light aromatic odor, the smell. If stored for some time, the odor becomes stronger due to bacterial decomposition. So whole urine part is important for the theory purpose as well as for MCQ purpose in any exam. Now urine has been formed by the kidney. The kidneys had done their job. So if the both side kidney we draw, they have done their job. So urine has to come down. So both side ureter does this job for transport of the urine up to the urinary bladder. So they are tubular structures which serve to conduct urine from the kidneys up to the urinary bladder. There are three natural constrictions. This line is important for the MCQ purpose. Three constrictions are at the pelviureteric junction, at the pelvic brim and just before it enters the bladder. Blood supply is from the branches of the renal artery, abdominal aorta, gonadal artery, common iliac artery, internal iliac artery and inferior vesical artery. Nerve supply of the ureter is by sympathetic from T10 to L1 segments and parasympathetic from S2 to S4 segments. So each and every line is important because it may come as short note or each line can come as MCQs. So urine has come to the urinary bladder. Let us study the urinary bladder in detail. It is a hollow muscular organ. So this is a urinary bladder, both the ureter joining here and bringing urine from kidneys. So this is the storehouse, reservoir of urine and discharge it periodically. Normal capacity is 200 to 300 cc. The interior mucous membrane is straw colored and is thrown into folds. At the upper lateral angles of the trigone are the ureteric openings. So these are the two ureteric openings where the ureters is coming. These are the two ureteric openings. Blood supply is from the internal iliac artery, and nerve supply parasympathetic fibers from S2, S3, S4 segments of the spinal cord, and sympathetic fibers from L1 segments are the nerve supply. It may come as a short note, or each and every line is important for the MCQ purpose also. Lastly, urine has come to the bladder and it has to go out from the body via the urethra. So, in the picture we can see a male urethra and a female urethra. So, this is urinary bladder and a urethra is coming from its neck up to the external ureter meatus. So, it is a tubular passage extending from the neck of the bladder to the external urethral meatus. Female urethra is 3.5 to 4 centimeter long, whereas male urethra is 18 to 20 centimeter long. Male urethra is divided in three parts. Very much important line for anatomical prospects. Three parts are prostatic parts, membranous parts, and spongy or penile part. This is the parts of the male urethra. There are two sphincters in relation to the urethra, internal sphincter and external urethral sphincter. The internal sphincter is made up of smooth muscle fibers and is situated at the neck of the bladder. It is innervated by autonomic nervous system and is involuntary. Very much important line. The external sphincter is made up of striated muscle and supplied by pudendal nerve and is voluntary. Very much important line again. It may also come as a short note and each and every line is important for the MCQ purpose. So thank you guys. This is the end of urinary system. If you are liking our lectures, kindly do like, comment and subscribe our channel. Thank you friends. We will meet in the next lecture.